Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, Bucko fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with co-host Jay Dash. We're going to talk about the Pirates and whether or not they should be worried about facing a lefty in the playoffs. It's been a hot topic here in the city of Pittsburgh, especially on the radio airwaves. A lot of fans on Twitter all crying out, we're going to hit the lefty in the playoffs in the wild card game. What are we going to do? Well, we're here to tell you what they're going to do. Well, at least Dash is. I'm just going to hate on them the whole time.
Yeah, I want to say I think they've already gotten better against lefties. And I think they are going to get even better once some of these guys on the DL get healthy as well. I mean, you take a look at their early season lineup. In left field, you had Marte, who's hitting .301 against lefties right now. There's no problem there. Kutch, .324, no problem there. The problem in the outfield, who are they playing? Tabata sometimes, Gorkys Hernandez, Corey Hart I've seen out there.
Oh, you're making it worse.
So there's one spot that you were having trouble with versus lefties. And then Cervelli, catcher, hitting .396 versus lefties this year with a .450 on base. Stewart's even hitting .278 with a .333 on base. So both of them are hitting lefties well, no problem there. First base, another problem. Offensively, obviously, not defensively, but Rodriguez hitting .179 with a .225 on base.
Listen, I want to say once everybody's healthy, he should not play again for the Pirates.
Well, defensive replacement and stuff like that, you still got to play him.
I wouldn't.
Oh, dude. I know you don't watch every Pirate game, man, but have you seen all these excellent defensive plays? I mean, he is saving runs for them defensively, definitely. He's made great plays in both right and left field. He's made excellent plays at second base, I've seen. He's made great plays at first base. This guy is very useful. And let's not forget, man, he's actually their third catcher. So if something happened in a game to Cervelli or Stewart, Rodriguez is that guy that would step in and catch.
Oh, good Lord.
That's actually not a terrible thing, though, man. That's a good thing to have.
Him behind the plate just scares me.
Versus left, I don't want to start him. That's the thing I don't want to do. I don't want this guy starting for me. I love him coming in to play a position if you need it. If you need to give a guy an off day or something, you know what I mean? Or if somebody gets hurt or anything like that, Rodriguez coming in, you know you're getting great defense out of him. And it's not like he is completely pathetic with the bat. Man, I know you said a couple times he doesn't even deserve to hold a bat. This guy has hit...
Sounds like something I would say.
This guy has hit double-digit home runs before in seasons, and...
Those were the steroid eras.
I mean, that it's possible, I guess, because he's not showing the same pop this year, but you got to remember, he's playing in Pittsburgh, too, where the pop isn't the same as other stadiums.
Yeah, we carry Pepsi products.
But you definitely wanted to upgrade Rodriguez at first base against lefties. And then Neil Walker, you could say, is another problem. He hitting .258 versus lefties this season with no jacks. So at second base, you don't have much against the lefty either. Third base, early in the season, it was Jay Hay at third base with a .322 average against lefties, so there's no problems there. A .379 on base. Gung's even hitting .267 with a .371 on base versus lefties, so there's no problems there. And then Mercer, he's not... Actually, he's very good versus lefties in his career, but this year, just like every other year, he struggled early in the season. So versus lefties in there early in the season, he was struggling as well. So that was another position. So you had Mercer, Walker, Rodriguez, and whoever played right field. So there was really four spots that were struggling versus lefties early in the season. Now you look at the current lineup, you got Marte and Kutch, who obviously you want to keep in there, but Polanco is playing versus lefties now. Now he only has a .203 average still, but anybody that's been watching games recently has seen him hitting lefties left and right. I mean,
he's hitting everything right now. Righties, lefties. He's hitting hard line drives. I mean, he just looks live at the plate. Something just opened in his eyes.
Please believe.
In the last couple weeks.
Look, he hit .273 with a .363 on base in July, which is very good, and I'll take that out of him any time. But in August here, he's hitting .389 with a .476 on base, so he's on point right now. He's been on base in every game but two since July 6th. So he's all over the bases. Now, he still has to work on his base running and whatnot, but I have no problem with Polanco versus lefties anymore. And actually, I never did. I was saying from the beginning of the season, play Polanco versus lefties, and that's what they should have been doing. I still don't understand why they weren't doing it. They finally figured out, oh, this dude is a superstar, and he's going to be able to hit lefties for you. So now your outfield looks good versus lefties. You still got Cervelli or Stewart at catcher.
I'm hearing Stewart's not going to catch Cole as much down the stretch just because they want Cervelli's bat in the lineup.
Cervelli actually caught Cole for the first time his past outing. Since May?
Yeah, they said he did catch him once in May.
Okay, so there you go. And yeah, I like that idea because now when Cole pitches, if you hit that one-game playoff, you got Cervelli hitting. If it works out, which it will. I mean,
yeah. Well, I actually heard them say, too, and I don't know how true this is, but Cole never, went to the organization and said, Stewart's my pitcher.
Oh, I'm sure he didn't.
At first, it started as it was just Cervelli's off days and just so happened to be Cole, and then they got comfortable and gotten in a groove,
right.
And Stewart wasn't terrible at the plate, so they just let Cole ride his groove out.
Now, let's move on to first base here. Before, it was Rodriguez, like I was saying. You were getting pretty much nothing out of him offensively. Now it's Mike Morse, which is better. Definitely, you can't say it's not better. He's hitting .286 in 7 at-bats against lefties with the Pirates. And this is a guy, you could see it when you watch. This guy has light tower power. Can he put it together, though? That's the real question.
He's so big, it looks like he's holding a toothpick or a mini bat.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's definitely upgraded from earlier in the season. Now, you still got Walker at second base. It's not great. It's not terrible either, though. And then Aramis Ramirez at third base now with Jay Hay and Mercer on the DL and Gung at shortstops. But Aram hitting .308 with the .357 on base versus lefties with the Pirates. I think it's 20-some at-bats maybe. Maybe it's even a little less than that, 18 or something. But, I mean, you just look, the current lineup versus lefties compared to the past lineup versus lefties, I mean, there's a huge difference here. And you can see they're getting better versus lefties. Now, once Harrison returns, you could actually play him at second base and Aram at third base against lefties. But Aram is taking balls at first base starting today, right? Correct?
Yeah, I think they've seen him doing it in warm-ups for games a couple times, too.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Okay, so he's already been doing it. From what I heard yesterday, he was going to start doing it today, but if he's already doing it, he's already doing it. So he could replace Moore's first lefties possibly. Now, who'd you say said...
I forget. It was one of the Pittsburgh... It's somebody who covers the Pirates in the city of Pittsburgh. One of the sports writers sent out a tweet that it was going to be Morse and Aram split in time at first and not Aram and Pedro. And I was confused by that because Pedro's bat is playing live right now. So I don't know. It didn't make sense.
Whoever that dude is, he's hilariously stupid. But, yeah, there's no way in hell Alvarez is coming out of this lineup. He's been crushing the ball. And actually, I've been saying this all along. He's looking better defensively, too. I know you don't want to believe it. But this guy, the last error he made was actually the error that 47 complained about where he overthrew second base. So, it hasn't been a long time.
Me and Easy argued about that the other night because I thought the error should have been called on him, not Neil Walker on that throw, because I thought that was a pretty easy scoop that Pedro could have made. But then Easy told me that any time there's a scoop play, it's on the thrower, not the fielder.
But, I mean, he made some good throws to second. He's made some good throws to home. He's made a couple diving stops recently. And he just looks a little bit more comfortable out there. I'm not saying he's a gold glover now, but you could definitely see a difference from the beginning of the season until now with him at first base. And it's not a surprise to me. I said it was going to take a little bit of time. And that's what worries me about Aram. I mean, if it takes him a half a season, that's no good to the Pirates. But Aram is also a little bit better defensively than Pedro was at third base as well. So maybe he can pick it up a little quicker than Pedro can as well.
He's a seasoned vet.
But it's going to be Pedro and Aram splitting time at first base, not more.
In 5 years, there's going to be a movie called Moneyball 2, and it's going to be about the Buccos, and Aram and Pedro are splitting time, and they're going to deal Pedro instead of whoever the hell they dealt in that to let Hatterberg play first.
Speaking of Moneyball, we are going to do a segment on AL and NL MVPs here in a minute. Go check that out. And I actually talk about Billy Beane and a move he made this past offseason that I think was one of the worst moves he's ever made. So go check out what move that was. But let's move on here. Moving forward, you could have Marte, Kutch, and Polanco in the outfield, who I'm happy with. Cervelli at catcher. If Aram can get it done at first base, you could have him at first, Walker at second, Harrison at third, and Gung at short. Now, you should have no problems with that versus lefties. Or there's other possibilities, too. If Aram don't work out at first, you'd keep Morse at first, have Harrison play second instead of Walker if you don't want Walker in, and then you can play Aram at third and Gung at shortstop. I kind of like that way as well. You're taking out every bat that struggles versus lefties and putting in bats that can hit them. So, I mean, that's a possibility. And then the last possibility is still sit Walker, but play Mercer at short, Gung at third, and Harrison at second while Aram goes over to first base. And all that could work out. And whatever they decide out of those three scenarios going forward, once Harrison and Mercer are healthy, man, I like what they have versus lefties as well, and I mean, they're getting better already. They just recently beat Clayton Kershaw 5-4. He went 6 innings, 9 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks, and let up a homer, which was Polanco on the first pitch he seen from Kershaw, and the first pitch Kershaw threw, actually. And he also singled versus Kershaw in that game. Kutch and Aram came up with a couple hits each in that game. They're starting to hit lefties better. And it's because they have a better lineup now, like I said, with Morse at first base and Polanco playing in left field. And I see it getting a lot better once Harrison gets healthy too. And if they decide they want to sit Walker or however they want to figure this lineup out.
I think your stomach liked the second option better than the third option. It said blah whenever you said the third one. So we're going to go with number 2.
You're going to go with number 2. So you want Morse in there, keep Aram off first base, keep him at third base?
You know, it just seems better. You're moving less people around to unfamiliar positions that way. You know what I mean? And, I mean, Morse and Aram they're hitting close to the same against lefties. So as long as Morse doesn't drop off, I would rather have him in a more natural position and Aram at his more natural position. Because let's face it, the Pirates, I don't want to say they're terrible at all because they're not, but their one weakness, I would say, is kind of fielding. At least recently, they've been making just plays that a contender shouldn't make. You know, little plays here and there. Like one time, Kutch tried throwing somebody out at third when he should have threw it to the cutoff. So then the guy went from first to second. Like just little things like that. That when you want to win a World Series, you got to tighten those up. So I don't want people out of position because more of those plays will start to happen.
If you pick that second option, what you want offensively is you're taking Morse over Walker, really, because he's the one that's going to come out in that scenario.
Right.
Which I don't mind either because, I mean, Walker, he doesn't hit for power off of lefties, and his average isn't terrible, but it isn't great either. I wouldn't mind giving Morse the opportunity to stick at first base against lefties long term. I mean, I like what I see out of Morse personally. But it was bad. It got better. I think it's going to get even better once we get some players healthy, obviously.
Although when you run into a beast lefty, you should still be a little cautious. Well, that's it. That's all the lefty knowledge we got for you today. Fans, you can follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread, or you can follow me on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Keep coming back to YouTube. Keep subscribing. Keep clicking that thumbs up.